back to the Customer Edge. I'm Butch Stearns of the Pulse Network.
And I'm Kai Petzelt with SAP.
All right, we are talking about our 5 clever, keep forgetting the word clever. We're talking about our 5 clever customer service survival tips. And right now we're going to bring in our next guest who is Skyping in from Chicago. He is a director at Deloitte Digital. His name is Bill Ziska. Bill, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Butch. Appreciate it.
Great to have you here. So Bill, tell us a little bit about you and your role at Deloitte Digital.
So I'm part of our Deloitte Digital practice, which really focuses on the full customer experience. So front ends, think sales, service, marketing, the digital channels, omni-channel, user experience. So we at Deloitte Digital, we can take it from end to end and really look at your digital strategy, what systems you need to set up, what are your business processes, best practices, how do you do social? So we pretty much cover the whole channel.
That's outstanding. We're really delighted to have you on the show, Bill. Thanks so much for making yourself available. And I'm really delighted to have you on the show, particularly because I know that you've been working with many clients of ours as well here from SAP, and have helped many clients to become successful service service clients. So that is really exciting to have you on the show, to have you share some of the experiences with us. So. We wanted to talk about 2 of those 5 clever customer service survival tips with you. And those 2 clever customer service survival tips being to reduce the effort for everyone, number 1, and to teach them how to fish. So let's talk about this first one first, to reduce the effort for everyone. What does it really mean for you to reduce the effort in customer service, and why do you think it's important to reduce the effort in customer service?
Well, I think mainly it's you got to make it simple. Be it online, be it chat, be it the call center, it's got to be a consistent experience. And in order to do that, it's got to be very easy for the call center agent, or if you're doing it online, it's got to be easy to do. So if you think about global search and the ratings that you would get on the best answers, because as we've all gone online, looking at FAQs and trying to manage through those, not a great customer experience, and it actually increases the effort. If you think about at the call centers, and I do a lot of ride-alongs at call centers and watch the ethnography, the way people interact with the tools, you see that you end up with bad tools, and they're mousing around, which means the customer's sitting on the phone, longer call times, longer expenses. So looking at how do I make decision trees, answer a few questions for me, and then how do I put those tools online for the customers to use? So again, just trying to drive it to a lower cost channel. I think the reason it's important to make those interactions simple is it's kind of the myth of excellence. Everybody thinks that, well, I have to have an outstanding, delightful customer experience. And the truth is, after doing a lot of research in this area, you just need to satisfy them. 9 people will tell of a bad experience, 5 will tell of a good experience, but they're not telling of a great experience. So don't overcommit your resources to be, delighting customers. Just get the problem solved. That's why customers call in. Just make my problem go away, and do it simply and do it effectively. Otherwise, I'm just not going to buy it. And I think, Butch, you brought it up earlier about, it's equally, if not more important in the B2B space, because of the fact that if I keep calling in and I keep getting dissatisfied, there are other partners out there that I can work with, and I'm going to switch very quickly.
So, Bill, you just mentioned you do a lot of ride-alongs at call centers. Tell us what you're hearing in the field. Again, we're talking about clever customer service survival tips, and this one specifically, reduce the effort for everyone. And you just gave a lot of insight into that. But what are you hearing when you're at these call centers? What's actually going on, and how can you lead that right into reducing the effort for everyone?
Well, I think the biggest trend that I'm seeing is in decision trees, in helping in collaboration at call centers. So, you see a lot of collaboration now in Salesforce is using, various chatting tools to do it. They're doing that at call centers too now. So I can quickly turn to, a partner who I know may have the answer to it, and let me get a quick answer for you. It's using decision trees. It's using global search so that as the person is typing up the problem, the global search is already going through the common solutions to find, the asset that will give them the answer, as opposed to going, okay, let me type it all in. Now let me go find, let me see, does this work? And it's like, no, it's got to be really quick. And the trend we're seeing there is also using that in a chat environment, because I think as you talked about earlier, more people are looking at self-service and doing, chatting than actually calling somebody, because it's a little bit quicker. And, we all have that tendency to do multitasking, right? So it's like, well, let me chat and then I can do something else, as opposed to staying on the line to do that. So again, blending those email, chat, and voice, is critical in the call centers, but it all comes down to the tools and the training.
Bill, that's actually a perfect segue to the other clever customer service survival tip that we chose to talk about today, which is teach them how to fish. Talk to us about customer self-service. Why do you see this this is growing in importance and acceptance from customers both in the B2B and B2C space?
Yeah, well, I think we see it, in just the way we buy. 60% of our buying decision is made before the sale. So why would we think that customer self-service is any different? It's the ability to, if I have a problem, the first place I go to is Google, and I, type in my search, results. And the key though is if the customer experience is bad, I'm going to lose it. It's like why we don't go to websites that don't provide a great user experience. I go once, I go, yeah, no, I'll just find another site. So I think we're looking at 75% of the customers are considering self-service as the most convenient way of dealing with their problems, and 67% prefer it. So it helps in the call center environment to reduce the calls to the call center, obviously reduce the cost of doing that, and potentially make it faster and easier for customers to do it. So I think we're going to continue to see that trend build. But the key is, again, going to make that user experience the best that it can be, and the search engines better and faster, and rated solutions being, constantly popping up. And I think that's the job of business, is to make sure that, we're putting in the right solutions, the right tools, and we're constantly looking at best practices to drive those results.
So let me just bring home this topic you just mentioned, and this particular KPI you just mentioned. 67% of the respondents of this survey said that they would actually prefer self-service over other interaction channels. Now, let me ask you this. Does that mean we should just get rid of call centers and other human-to-human interactions and just focus on self-service exclusively?
I think that I'd love to say yes, but it's not. I mean, I'm a baby boomer, right? So with the aging population, some people are just not as comfortable as the next geners to go online and do it themselves. So you need the call center. It's got to be there, but you've got to have an easy interaction of switching between the self-service and the call center. So, click to chat, click to call me back. How do I make that so easy to direct the consumer, since they prefer it, to the online channel, but be able to switch over if they get frustrated? And again, I think we're seeing more technology where if they're mousing around, you see the pop-up chat that says, hey, looks like you're having trouble. Can we help? That's a great example of, kind of the do's and don'ts of call centers are just making it easy. But knowing that's where they're going to go, let's try to make it, the best experience possible.
Great insights from Bill Ziska from Deloitte Digital, joining us here on the Customer Edge, talking about customer service. Again, Butch, clever customer service survival tips. We're focusing on reducing the effort for everyone, our tip number 2 in our 5 tips, and also teaching them how to fish. Bill, how about a final thought on the self-service part? Actually, Bill will be back with us in just a second. What stuck with you, Kai, from what Bill had to say?
Well,
right there.
Yeah, first of all, what really struck me is that customer self-service is so big and so up and coming. So every organization out there should really think about how they can integrate customer self-service into their mix.
Right.
Not make it an alternative, but make it an additional, easy-to-use option.
Right. When it comes to the self-service, a question when we get Bill back here on the line, we had a little connection problem with him for a second. The question is about what we talked about before, that fine line between, and the teaching them how to fish part, between self-service, but yet, you know, again, you answered it. It has to be a pleasant experience, right? It's really that simple, isn't it?
Exactly. It has to be pleasant. It has to be easy, because otherwise people really won't go back to your website and try to find an answer to their question next time. Yeah.
All right, we have Bill back, guys. All right, let's go back to Bill. Bill Ziska from Deloitte Digital. Bill, sorry, that's what happens with technology these days. How about a final thought from you about in that teach them how to fish? Kai and I have been talking about this all show. It's a fine, and you're a baby boomer, as you said. It's a fine line to reach out to your customer, B2B or B2C, and tell them, here you go, so you can solve the problem yourself, but not make it that I have to do all the work. You need to be there for me too also, don't you? How do you walk that fine line as a company?
Well, I think that the key is that, you know, make that user experience consistent across all the channels, so that online, easy to use, decision trees, FAQs, you know, I can get into it. And it's almost the same way that we configure products. You know, if you think about how we do, you know, configuration of complex products, you go through, you know, if you need this and that and the other thing, you know, Google does it suggestive, you know, try this. It's kind of the same thing. And then that experience needs to translate over to the chat. It needs to translate over into the call center, so that you've got a consistent user experience that delights your customers in a very simple way. So we talked earlier about, you know, you don't have to achieve, but you do have to resolve their problem, make the problem go away as quickly as possible. And I think that's the key.
Well, great takeaways. Thank you so much, Bill Ziska from Deloitte Digital. Delighted to have you on the show. Thanks so much for taking the time, and hope to have you on the show back next time.
Great. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Bill Ziska from Deloitte Digital. You are watching The Customer Edge. I'm Butch Stearns of the Pulse Network. Kai Petzelt from SAP alongside. We're talking about our 5 clever customer service survival tips. Time for us to take another break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Brad Blake of Hill Holiday, VP of social media over at Hill Holiday, to talk about being social when it comes to customer service survival tips. But as we take a break right now, another firsthand customer experience story. This one's from Patrick Gilbert of GenBand, discussing a positive customer service experience he had while using Amazon Prime.
All right, so I want to know about your customer service experiences. Tell me about a recent experience that you've had, either positive or negative, what happened, and how that may have affected your wallet.
Well, it's easy to start with the positive, which would be Amazon Prime. I've been an Amazon customer for years, but recently my renewal came up 2 weeks ago for Amazon Prime, and without any hesitation, because of the quality of the service, the online movies and other entertainment that they're constantly adding for Prime users. Of course, the shipping helps as well. And so it was without hesitance, I went ahead and renewed for another year.